welcome to another episode of Literary Gladiators, the show where we discuss and debate literature in all of its forms. If it's written work, it's game. Let's meet the panel.
Hi, I'm Larry.
Hi, I'm Jesi.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Josh. Ari, you're back for season 15.
I am.
Welcome back,
first
Ari.
Appearance.
Yay.
Yay.
There's 5 of us, myself, Ari, Larry, Charlie, and Dan, that have all been on at least 13 seasons.
Ooh,
Wow.
that is commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're old school.
Yep. Still doing it, and we want to keep doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to be going over a short story that Jesi selected called Escape from Appalachia, Tennessee Ghost Story, written by William Morris.
Listen, if you don't mind, I am going to take out my phone for this one, because I'd also like to make mention to the website that it's on. I thought that it had the moonlit road, traveling the strange south through storytelling. Highly recommend the whole site. They've got a lot of really cool ghost stories on it, so that's my recommendation. Assuming that's where you guys got.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
That's
I was like, that's where you
Josh sent
guys
me.
got it. So I thought it was cool. I've kind of, looked through some of the short stories, and they all seem pretty interesting. So I'll be reading more.
Websites come out with pretty good short stories.
Yeah.
I've looked into web magazines or websites like there's a science fiction one.
This one was quite interesting.
You have a discussion starter?
Obviously, we knew it was a ghost story based on the fact that it was a Tennessee ghost story. Did it at all kind of surprise you the way the story went? Or did you guys find it a little predictable?
I wasn't ready for it, I can tell you that much.
I think that twist was very intriguing and well done because it made it look like Slick was almost incredibly authentic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The way that they depicted it, he came out of that circumstance. In actuality, he didn't.
Nope.
Where the car caught, where he ended up catching fire.
He was already dead.
Yes.
He
But yet,
he was a ghost.
but yet Luther still had that $100 bill.
Yeah, and I think that to me was like the biggest little twist because, I mean, it was a ghost and obviously that car didn't exist, but he sat in it and was driven in it. That money shouldn't have existed because the car didn't exist, and yet there it was in his...
It's
and how he got
interesting.
from point A to point B, too.
Yeah.
With the tangible, it's actually like, you don't normally have ghosts be like tangible like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just interesting to see a ghost story where not only are you interacting with the character, but you're also
Being
talking to the
carried
character,
along.
you get items from the character.
Obviously, going into it, I knew it was supposed to be a ghost story, so at some point I would, come see the character interact with a ghost. What got me, though, was the little song that Luther ended up playing for the guy, and the guy didn't know it. And I think that was the point where I realized we're like, I think Slick might be the ghost. Because, because it almost seemed like the song he was singing about the Moonshine Runner was about Slick. How, I forget exactly how it went, but it was...
Yeah, because he had that giant barrel in his car. He was the runner.
Moonshine.
And it's like you're singing a song about it. It's like, well, maybe it has to do with the ghost.
Yeah, well, what did it say? It said the law would catch him, but the devil would catch him first. And that to me sounded like it's like, a moonshine runner who dies before the law catches him.
And this guy's a
And
moonshine
this
runner.
guy is a moonshine runner, and I'm like, I feel like there's a connection here. The ending where he's like, no, he's on fire up there, and he's like, no, he's been dead for 80 years. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I knew it. But the $100 bill, that was the part that really I was like, oh, that's so cool and so weird.
What really...
Ghosts make money in the
What also
afterlife.
caught my attention was the fact that it's a race story, too. Because we don't find out until Slick makes mention to it that Luther is a black man.
I actually went back because I was like, did I miss that description?
This may have been bad to me, but I assumed he was black from the beginning.
I mean,
there
there
was
was...
Martin Luther King, so Luther, I thought it was...
That's
just kinda how my
just
brain...
an image that goes in your head.
Yeah, it's
But
just different for everybody. That's why I love reading, because everything is like different perspectives. But
Yeah. And
So I had actually, and not to, interrupt you, but I had actually assumed he was white because if you've ever done any more reading about, like, the coal miner towns around, it's essentially white slavery to a different extent. And so since it started off him in the mines, I just kind of like, or how his father and his grandfather were in the mines, I just assumed that he was white until it made mention of that.
And then when he gets into that fight, the fight between those thugs that broke snapped his Achilles tendon and left him with a limp. You would wonder, why would they do it? And I think that it could have very well been racially motivated.
Driven,
And then at the beginning when he called his, well, it was called Pappy and Pa, that I usually don't, I mean, I've not really heard that through white people. That's just me.
I just took it as a Southern thing. I didn't realize it was black either. And I was asking myself, too, why he left under the cover of night. Maybe that's the reason why he did Why he wouldn't go during the day to leave and make this trip.
He does make mention, like, later on in the story, the year that it was, which was 1963. So there was still a lot of
segregation.
Exactly. A lot of racial, like, big racial issues where, when you think back on it, it does make sense why he left at night, why he was picked on, why...
And that was when the incident in the car took place. The incident being attacked and left with a limp took place earlier. Which there was
would have been worse.
It was even worse.
I thought that was very descriptive and a little uncomfortable to read that part.
It's eerie when the physical damage of a body part is described.
Yeah, I was always wondering why they were attacking him too. It never really was mentioned, but then now that you think about it, that you're saying he's black, it makes sense. I mean, it's just a shame that racism was still a huge thing in Tennessee in the early 60s.
But to kind of turn things around a little bit, too, this ghost, who's supposedly been dead for 80 years, so if you think 80 years prior to 1963 is what, 18...
It was 80? I thought
roughly.
It was only 8.
So something like that.
I thought they said 1955.
Yeah, it was 55.
So wait,
8,
I'm pretty
80.
sure.
No, 8 years, not
8
80.
Oh,
years.
did I? I'm sorry. Yeah, 8 years.
Yeah.
So even so, it's like he, like the ghost himself didn't. The ghost didn't seem to have any kind of like racism about him, despite being
in a way,
8 years.
Yeah,
earlier.
in a way, he seemed like someone. It's like the kind of person who would see a homeless guy on the side of the road and he'd give him,
try and help him.
Like that's the. When I saw that character as Slick, I was like, that's like me. That's like what I would do in a situation. When I found out like he was the one that had passed away in the fire, it's like, oh, well, where are the good people gone, you know?
I wouldn't even say it was really a story about race. It was,
no,
and the way that it was, you had to put all the pieces together to realize that it was probably a racially driven or racially motivated attack.
Yeah, it's not specifically said.
And I mean, granted, the way that they depicted the Chinese person.
Yeah, they call him Chinaman.
Yeah, that's not a very pleasant term for... And the way that he was depicted, it was a bit comical.
But the question is, when was this written? Was that done deliberately, or was that...
it was more recent.
I think, hold on.
So it might have been done deliberately to try and get the reader to make it feel like it's like 1963.
I think that if it's like a period thinking, then maybe it's more out of accuracy than anything.
It doesn't say. There's a copyright of 2024, but I mean, I picked this out last year, so obviously, you know.
That's not right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it doesn't say when it was written. I mean, overall, I thought it was a really good short story, and you know, like you said, race was definitely not the center of it because you don't find out until halfway through the story that he's even African American. Even then, it's mentioned once and then it's dropped. So the story itself is more about his interaction with Slick and the journey, the very short journey that they have together.
And what Slick turns out to be.
Yeah.
It's more of a ghost story than anything.
And the thing is...
and even that, too, it's more of a, like an encounter piece.
Yeah.
Because I was wondering where was the ghost aspect going to come in, but it turns out it was with Slick.
It was there the whole time.
And it was very much like a...
And what I liked about this, too, and having now lived in the Shenandoah Valley and Appalachia, because Appalachia stretches from Alabama, Georgia, all the way up to Maine, through Pennsylvania, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee,
New Jersey,
a little bit of New Jersey, yeah.
North.
It's a whole culture, and there's a lot of little things and superstitions that come out of Appalachia that I had never heard before, and then some that I had heard before.
Kind of like with the Pinelands and the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, exactly.
They have all these little stories in their own culture.
And it makes sense that they have these ghost stories that they pass down because the Appalachian Mountains are, they say, older than bones because they're just one of the oldest mountain ranges on the planet. You know, it makes sense that they have these ghost stories that follow them and these superstitions and these myths. So that's why I really wanted to go for a story about Appalachia to kind of even better understand a little bit of the culture of it.
Reminds me of John Denver.
Country roads take me home.
Take me home, country roads.
Hey, West Virginia's scary, okay?
West Virginia!
Wild and wonderful.
West Virginia seems quite beautiful.
Gorgeous. It's gorgeous.
And my friend Damon used to live in West Virginia for a very short period of time.
But that can go back to, so I've done quite a bit of reading on coal miners in West Virginia. You know, it was a huge shame that West Virginia, Tennessee, and Kentucky were the worst, but, you know, the rich men from this area would go there, buy plots of land where people live, and then tell them, like, no, you're mining coal for me now, and they would pay them with these coupons. So they wouldn't pay them with real money. They would pay them with, this is my money. It's worth just as much, and you can still buy
like
bread.
A voucher.
Yeah, but it's only good at the company's store.
Exactly. It's only good at, so they were never able to save up money to leave, and so it was like you either walked out of the holler with nothing, or you lived and died there.
Yeah, it's the same thing with the gold rush.
18 tons, and what do you get?
16 tons.
16 tons. Excuse me. And what do you get? Another day older.
And deeper in debt.
Yeah.
St. Peter, don't you call me, because I can't go. I owe my soul
to the company's stall.
see, you guys know. There's another song, You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive, and that one's one of Josh and my favorites. And one of the best lines is digging coal from the bottom of your grave. You're not going anywhere. You're stuck right there.
I feel like these are good campfire songs.
They are. They're great campfire songs. So.
I feel like some Johnny Cash up in here now.
Yeah.
Some Woody Guthrie, too.
Oh, yeah, Guthrie, of course.
Yeah.
We're ready.
He's a big part of the romanticization of the bank robber. You know, he wrote songs about Babyface Nelson leaving money.
Your Land was his biggest.
Yeah. But, you know, he's got a whole catalog that was recorded for the Library of Congress, and it's all very interesting music.
It's a mighty...
But, yeah, you know, I mean, because you get a sense of that, too. It's like the romanticization of the criminal.
Yeah.
Because of, you know, the institutions didn't do these people any good. So the outlaw kind of became a role model.
Which can even tie back into Slick, because, I mean, come on, he was running moonshine, which was way illegal. And how cool did he seem?
Yeah.
Like you said, the cops are following him, the devil got him first.
Yep. I was going to say, let's see, before we finish this, I have to bring up the lyrics real quick, because it was just a few lines. It was thunder, thunder over Thunder Road. Thunder was his engine, and white lightning was his load. It was moonshine, moonshine to quench the devil's thirst. The law, they swore they'd get him, but the devil got him first.
Law, they swore they'd get him, but the devil got him first.
And he was impressed with the song, too.
Yeah, he was. He was like, oh, that's a good song. Did you write it? And the guy, and Luther's like, what? Everybody knows this song. Especially Moonshine Runner is like, what? How do you not know this song? And so that's why I was like, I feel like that song might be about Slick.
Yeah.
But the devil got him first. It's the ghost of Appalachia. No.
Ready? Do we have any final thoughts?
Ari, spatial question for you. Would it be possible to play guitar in the front seat of a car like that?
I don't know. I mean, it depends how big the guitar is. But it's possible.
I feel like he was probably driving like a muscle car, which those are a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Most allegedly, Kermit the Frog was able to do it, but he's a muffin.
But I mean, like you probably what I have seen, Larry, is like people will go in their if they weren't driving the truck, like they'll sit in the truck or they'll sit on the trunk and play. I used to do that all the time. I would just sit on my trunk and just go, just play that way. So if not in the front seat, then definitely somewhere on the car. I mean, my friend, he used to play guitar on top of his car. He would climb on top of his car. So definitely a thing.
I think that this was just a very well written, well thought out. It was very easy to immerse myself in and enjoy, and I definitely want to read more stories from this.
This site is interesting. What was it called again?
The Moonlit Road. Highly, I think that's the name of, hold on, let me make sure that's the name of the actual website before. Yeah, themoonlitroad.com.
And is it a theme? Is Appalachian ghost stories?
Yep, traveling the strange South through storytelling. So it might not all necessarily be Appalachia, but it's of South and South Central America, which, is an interesting place. So
yeah, impressive. And be sure to check out that site. We'll leave a link down.
The Moonlit Road.
Thank you for tuning in to this discussion. I hope you check out some more videos from our channel. If you like what you see, please subscribe. And if you really like what you see, please support us on our Patreon. The more money that we make will allow us to provide you, the viewer, with even more great content. And in exchange, you will be able to find a few patron-exclusive discussions. You could find us doing some science experiments, some recipes. We actually did a vlog of one of the cookbooks that I have. And then there's some Jenga games. There's a best of 3 between Dan and I, and then an elimination-style game between Larry, Charlie, and I. All that's worth checking out. For now, and as always, we encourage you to keep reading.
And watch out for the ghosts!